Hi, Steve Stine from GuitarZoom here, and I'd like to help you with something that may make your solos a little bit easier before you ever start learning how to play them, okay? So giving you some ideas of how to learn solos quickly. That's what we're looking for, okay? So the first thing I want you to know is when you're going to learn something, whether it's a song, whether it's a solo, whatever, even if it's something that you're not very familiar with, the first thing you need to do is exactly that. You need to get to know the song, the solo, whatever it is that you're doing. You need to familiarize yourself with how it sounds. I had a teacher once a long time ago that told me if you can sing it, you can play it. And he didn't mean sing it out loud, because if I did that, that would sound horrible. He meant in your mind, can you hear it, right? If it's 180 beats a minute and it's way too fast for your brain to process, it doesn't mean you can't play it, but it's certainly going to be more of a challenge. But if it was something that you could sing in your head, it might be something that's a little more approachable. Okay? So the first thing is being able to sing whatever it is. You get to know the song. And what I do to do that sort of thing is I listen to the part over and over and over, right? So let's say I'm learning the solo for Stairway to Heaven or something like that. So I'm going to listen to the solo. Now, what I'm not going to do is take out the tablature and then listen to the entire solo and watch the tab, okay? It doesn't really work for me that way. What I like to do is I'll listen to again, I know what the solo sounds like because I've heard it a million times and you probably do too. Those are the best songs to start with. But even if you wanted to play Stairway to Heaven and you knew the song really well in your head, but you've never played it before, a really great idea is to just listen to a phrase or a section. Okay, we can call it whatever we want. I'm not talking official phrase or anything like that, not a theory thing. I'm talking a part that we can chop off, a chunk that we can just look at, just a chunk, right? So if I was looking at the beginning of this solo, regardless of hammer-ons and pull-offs and all those sorts of things, just looking at the structure of the song, if I had what it really is a bend and then a descension through the pentatonic scale until the very last note. Now, the very last note is not pentatonic. Okay, pentatonic would give me a 7. I'm in the key of A minor here, and I'm actually getting an 8. Okay, now the 8 is an 8 because it's the note F, and at that point in the solo, Jimmy Page is playing. He's on an F chord. So logically, in his head, he's thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go to an F at the end, so I can target that note, is what I call chord chasing. I can target that note because it's part of the chord. So he's playing pentatonic. Now, in my mind, that would be a segment or a section or a phrase. Okay, it's a piece that I can cut out and I can practice just that over and over and over again, and I can decide, do I want to play hammer-ons or pull-offs, or do I want to pick everything, or do I want to slide somewhere? And for me, and I hope this is okay with you, for me, I'm going to do it however I need to do it to sell the song, okay? I want the listener to listen to it and go, wow, that sounded good, or I want it to feel good to me so I can approach a listener and give them the best I have with what I'm doing. So I'm not concerned with whether Jimmy Page did or didn't do a hammer-on or a pull-off in a particular spot. I'm going to do it that way because it feels most comfortable to me. And I'd like you to be able to think the same way. Because I think as aspiring guitar players, we tend to think that we need to do every nuance exactly the same way that they do. And again, that's awesome if that's the way you approach everything. But when you approach a Jimmy Page solo to whoever solo, to a Steve Vai solo, to a Satriani solo, to a Joe Bonamassa solo, they all have different nuances from each other. But if you were to look at 7 songs of Joe Bonamassa, they're going to have nuances that are similar because he's a human being just like you and I are, right? So what I need you to remember is don't forget the human element when you're learning how to play something. If you feel like there should be a pull-off or a hammer-on or something, then do it. Add it in and don't feel bad about it, right? Make it work for you. So I've got this section. I'm making it comfortable. I can hear it in my head. I can hear it in my head, and I can now visualize it on my fretboard. Maybe I can't play it fast enough, but I can certainly see it and practice it. Worrying about measure 12 of this solo isn't going to do me any good at measure 2. So I'm just going to work through this piece by piece, and I'm not breaking it apart in measures, right? Please remember that when I say section or segment or phrase, I'm talking about a chunk of information that you can pull out and you can just look at that and memorize it. Okay? So we get to know the solo. We listen to the solo. We listen to the solo in its entirety over and over and over. And then we listen to the solo in segments or pieces and extract an idea and then work on that and humanize it so we can play it the way it feels most comfortable to us. Okay? And then what we do is we just thread those pieces together. So I'd work on the second section. And again, this is how I play it. If I went... So that'd be my second phrase or second section. Now again, if you play it a little different than I do, then that's awesome. Then you've already humanized it to what it is that you need from the solo to make it comfortable for you, both in terms of what it looks like on the fretboard and what it feels like when you play it. So that would be the second section that I would do. And then what I would do is I would take those two pieces and I'd start playing them together. Okay, and I might need to slow both pieces down a little bit to connect them, because I call them connectors, but what happens oftentimes is we can learn this piece and this piece, and because we can play them both at whatever tempo, we just throw them together and expect that they're going to fit, and sometimes they don't. So what we need to do is wherever the connection is, now in this particular solo so far, it's awesome because there's actually a break there, which is why I call it a phrase, but it doesn't always work out that way. But whatever this is, I need to be able to put these two pieces together and then build them collectively. So I've got these two pieces. Well, then I'm going to go back to a third piece. I'm going to build that, and then I'm going to put it back on here. And as I'm doing this, from all the listening that I did initially, I'm hearing it becoming real. It's becoming authentic as I play it, you see? So as I keep going through each piece, it might be a little slow, it might be a little different because I changed this or this or this to accommodate, again, what feels most comfortable for me. And again, if you play for a living and you play out in clubs or whatever you might do, you know that that's reality. When you play music, sometimes you just have to change things to make them make more sense. You know, if you're just trying to play every song to be absolutely accurate to the song, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there's a reality of who you are when you go up on stage and you grab your guitar and you play. You know, if you listen to Slash play night after night, if you like Slash, everything isn't exactly the same. Everything changes a little bit here and there. So if you were trying to mimic Slash, you'd have a heck of a time because he doesn't even mimic himself. He's just being himself, doing his thing, you see? So I want you to think about that a little bit. Those things are going to help you enormously in learning how to play your solos more quickly than just looking at tab and trying to listen to the whole song and then, you know, play along by reading the whole thing. Start breaking it down and memorizing it as you go.